Let's look here at Genesis chapter 45. Read with me, if you will, beginning at verse 1. Joseph has tested his brothers, sent them away. They came back with Benjamin. He tests them again. He's going to keep Benjamin. Judah offers himself as a substitute to pay the price so that Benjamin can go to the father who loves him. Beautiful picture of the redemption and atonement that we have in Christ, who offers himself so that his father can lavish his love on the brothers whom he loves. And Joseph can't take it anymore. Then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. He cried, "Make everyone go out from me." So no one stayed with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud so that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence. So Joseph said to his brothers, "Come near me, please." And they came near. And he said, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." Joseph is giving us a glimpse of his theology now. Next verse. "For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry, go up to my father, and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me Lord of Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, you, your flocks, your herds, all you have. There I will provide for you. For there are yet 5 years of famine to come, so that you and your household and all that you have do not come to poverty. And now your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You must tell my father of all my honor in Egypt, and of all that you have seen. Hurry, bring my father down here." Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. After that, his brothers talked, after what they'd done to him. They had done the unthinkable, the unspeakable to him, and he extends forgiveness. I believe, outside of the cross, the most beautiful picture of forgiveness that we have in the entire Bible. Let me do a few things so that we can understand what it is we're dealing with. First, I want to define forgiveness for you, because many of us wrestle with the issue of forgiveness because we don't know what it means. And it has tremendous implications for our spiritual lives and for our relationships. Listen to this from John Calvin. First, what is forgiveness but a gift of mere liberality? A creditor is not said to forgive when he declares, by granting a discharge, that the money has been paid to him, but when, without any payment, through voluntary kindness, he expunges the debt. Forgiveness is expunging the debt. He uses these terms because you almost have to use these commercial terms in order to understand what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is the cancellation of a debt. Forgiveness means you don't have to pay. Usually when we say, "I forgive you," what we're really saying is, "I'm not going to blow up at you." Literally, that's all we mean. I'm not going to blow up at you. I'm not going to punch you. I want to, but I'm not going to right now. However, I am going to punish you in significant ways. Now, see, what happens when we get out of this transactional model, when we're not talking about finances anymore? What does it look like for me to make somebody pay, for me to not forgive? Well, a couple of things. How about depriving another person of my time and attention? I forgive you. I just don't want to be around you. I forgive you. I'm just not speaking to you. The husband and wife situation. I forgive you. I'm just withholding affection. That's not forgiveness. That is the opposite of forgiveness. You are being punitive. You're making the person pay. That means you're not forgiving. Or depriving a parent of the honor and respect that they're due. I forgive you. I'm not going to honor you and respect you. You've lost that. Again, you're not forgiving. Depriving a child of their inheritance. We see that with Jacob and Reuben, do we not? And there are people who do that. They don't forgive their kids. They say they forgive them, but then they punish them later on. I got something you want, something you need, something you expect. You're not going to get it. It's punishment. Refusing to acknowledge the accomplishments or achievements or special occasions in other people's lives. My mother was mean to me. My mother wasn't a good mother. So guess what I'll do? I'll show her. I won't send her a card on her birthday. You haven't forgiven. My parents weren't good parents. I'm not going to throw them an anniversary party. I'm not going to show up to celebrate a retirement of somebody that I don't respect, somebody who did that to me. This is making them pay. I'm going to make you pay. I'm not going to send them pictures of their grandkids. I'm making you pay. I'm not going to come see you. I'm making you pay. I'm not going to call you. I'm making you pay. This is unforgiveness. All the while we're saying, oh, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you, but here's how you're going to pay. You're talking out of two sides of your mouth. How about rejecting gifts? Hey, you got a card. It's from your mother. Throw it away. Hey, you got a gift. It's from your sister. You're probably just feeling guilty. I don't want that. This is what unforgiveness looks like in your everyday life. Rejoicing in the suffering of someone else. You did me wrong. Now you got cancer. That's what you get. That's unforgiveness. And it's completely and utterly hypocritical. See, when you're not forgiving, there are a number of things that are going on. Number one, what's going on is you're being disobedient because you're commanded to forgive. Ephesians 4:32, we'll talk about that more in a moment. But you're commanded to forgive. So first and foremost, you're being disobedient. So refusing to forgive someone is sin. You're sinning against God, which is quite ironic because you're sinning because someone sinned against you. And you feel like your sin is justified because it came second. Here's the second problem with that. When you're not forgiving a believer, here's what you're saying to God. And don't tell me you're not saying this to God, because this is what you're saying to God. It sounds exactly like this. Listen, God, I know that Jesus died on the cross for what that person did to me, and that may be enough to satisfy you, but I require more. The death of Jesus Christ is not enough. I spit on the cross. It cannot pay for this. Die again, Jesus, because what you did wasn't good enough to cover this. They need your death on the cross plus the silent treatment from me. Wow, I better start forgiving believers. I just hold on to my unforgiveness against unbelievers. Now, really? Unbelievers will pay eternally for their sin in hell. The wrath of God poured out against them. So when you don't forgive an unbeliever, what you're saying is, God, your wrath is not enough. This person doesn't just need an eternity in hell. They need an eternity in hell plus me not taking their phone calls. The other aspect of this that's just absolutely horrible is that the one who's really paying is you. It has been said, holding on to unforgiveness against another person is like you drinking poison hoping they die. And you allow the bitterness to stir and fester. It's not what Joseph did. Secondly, I want you to understand where forgiveness comes from. Forgiveness is linked inexorably to redemption. Here, Joseph offers this forgiveness, but notice what he says. God sent me here for a purpose. And the purpose was redemption. The purpose was preserving life. By the way, there was a greater redemptive purpose, not just preserving any life, but particularly and specifically to preserve Judah's life. How do we know this? Well, because the whole story of Genesis is about the preservation of the promised seed. Man falls in Genesis chapter 3. The first announcement of the gospel is in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. God says to the serpent, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between her seed and your seed. You will bruise his heel, but he will crush your head. That's the announcement that there is one who is coming, seed of the woman, who will crush the head of the snake. Very next chapter, what do we see? The first murder. Seed of the serpent, Cain kills seed of the woman, Abel. At the end of that chapter, there's the announcement of another seed, Seth. Chapter 5, we have 10 generations from Adam to Noah through the godly line of Seth. The seed is being preserved. The earth is wiped out. Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and their wives escape on the ark. The seed is preserved. Shem is identified as the promised seed. Eventually, Terah is identified as the promised seed. Eventually, Abraham is identified as the promised seed. There's a promise made to him that he's going to have a child, a son. He goes into Hagar and has Ishmael, not the right one. The promised seed is not Ishmael. The promised seed is Isaac. Isaac has twins. Who's the promised seed? Is it the firstborn, Esau? No, it's the secondborn, Jacob. Now Jacob goes in and gets married to 2 different women. 12 sons. Who's the promised seed? Is it the one he loves the most, Joseph? No. It's the son of the wife that he never even wanted to marry. Judah is the promised seed. And Joseph was hated, enslaved, and imprisoned, and estranged for over 2 decades so that Judah would live. And he would have a son named David someday, who would have a son named Jesus someday, who would redeem God's people. It is because Joseph looked at his circumstances this way that he was able to forgive. This is Ephesians 4:32.
I wake up, it's a brand new day.
Next line.
Sun is shining, I'm on my way. Gotta get up, gotta get moving. Got no time for snoozing.
Romans 12:9 or 12:19.
I head out, feeling kinda groovy. Got a spring in my step, feeling so free. I grab my cup, I take a sip. The taste of coffee, it's like a sweet trip. Coffee in the morning, it's my best friend. Gives me energy, helps me to transcend. Oh yeah. Coffee in the morning, it's my delight. Can't start my day without that caffeine high. Kinda groovy. Got a spring in my step, feeling so free. I grab my cup, I take a sip. The taste of coffee, it's like a sweet trip. Coffee in the morning, it's my best friend. Gives me energy, helps me to transcend. Oh yeah. Coffee in the morning, it's my delight. Can't start my day without that caffeine high. Can't start my day without that caffeine high. Coffee in the morning is my delight. Can't start my day without that caffeine high. Coffee in the morning is my delight. Can't start my day without that caffeine high.
Christ has made that a reality for you, not just a possibility for you. It's a reality for you. It's the only reality that makes any sense. Holding on to unforgiveness, holding on to bitterness. That makes no sense for those of us who are redeemed. You can't do that. That's not who we are. It's completely incongruent. But what Christ has made real for you is the opportunity to say that because of what he has done, forgiveness is possible for me. And not just what it has done in saving you from the wrath of God, but also what it has done from saving you from the poisonous venom of unforgiveness.